Welcome to first sort of proper Elluminate session, although this one will be slightly different to what we normally do, as we are actually running a little bit of a tutorial, a bit of a group session in this one, so it will be a little bit different, although we do sometimes run tutorials as well in these sessions. It's great to see you all in here, and a great turnout for the night, which is fantastic. And I'm going to hand over to Steve to say an official hello.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Wherever you may be, Kalgoorlie, Esperance, Kununurra. Okay, session outline. We will open up with question time. You guys could well have quite a few questions, seeing we've only had one Elluminate and a number of people didn't actually make it to the first one. So we'll start off with question time, and then we'll talk about our group critiques. Basically what we do is we have a show and tell for a couple of people each session, and after each show and tell we get you guys to all give a critique on whatever presentation our show and tellers have made, but we're also going to be referring to critiquing in discussion board and other ways that we do give each other feedback along the way. Group practice, yeah, basically that's a flow on from our group critiques. Hopefully by now you guys will all have a visual diary. If not, we'll be talking a little bit about our visual diaries. We'll have a quick discussion on how your schedule's looking and how it is going and how it should be going maybe. Back to our show and tell. We'll just give you a little bit more of a rundown on that one. Talk about our drop-ins, our tutorial requests, and let you know when the next session is.
If you do think of any questions as we're going along, just put them in the chat area or raise your hand, and we'll go through the questions as we get through. Okay, as Steve said, we're going to look at talk about a group critique. Obviously, group critique is really important. It's actually a real core component of a new designer's development. Apart from the fact that it's always really good to get another set of eyes to check your work, the benefit of a group critique actually goes way beyond that feedback. It's about engaging in critical and thoughtful conversation about design on a regular basis. And when you do that and you get into the habit of doing that, then you ultimately become more informed and just ultimately a better designer, really. So, oh sorry, I just lost my thing. So what are the benefits of a group critique? Well, the major benefit is that you'll get better interaction with clients. I often call graphic designers and I'll say this every year, and it's probably getting a bit of an old joke, but I often call graphic designers the prostitutes of the art world, because really we are there to please the client. Not saying that the client is always right, but we need to make sure that we fulfill the client's needs. And so when you participate in regular critique, it makes the fact that you can talk intelligently about design second nature, and therefore have that ability to be able to talk to your client intelligently about design and make them see why you've chosen certain aspects of a design. This will be a learning curve that you'll learn quite quickly when you're working with clients, that certain clients will want certain things, and you really think, well, actually that bright yellow and that bright blue and that bright red are not going to work together. If you can talk intelligently to that client about the reasons why those three colours are not going to work for that particular client, then they're going to be able to listen to you and understand you better. And you can only do that by regular talking and regular critiquing of design. So it gives you that confidence and experience which is really priceless in client meetings and collaboration. It also gives you an improved ability to self-edit. I think that's one of the most difficult things about as being a designer, to be able to look at your work and critique your own work. But if you're constantly critiquing other people's work, then it gives you that ability to be observant and critical and about the details of a design that then helps you to be able to edit and improve your own work. So other benefits, it allows you to depersonalize. It's very hard, and it's a really hard lesson to learn as a graphic designer, to become emotionally detached from your work. You may have spent hours and hours on a design that you just think is the best thing since sliced bread, and it can be quite hard to listen to someone saying that actually they don't think it's working. If that's coming from a client, it can be even harder to take. So you really need to learn to become emotionally detached from your own designs and have a coping mechanism to realise that actually, yes, you have lost direction with a design. You did think it was the best thing since sliced bread, but actually it's not meeting the target audience. It's not meeting your client's needs. And so the more you participate in group critique, the better you will become at being able to depersonalise and be able to step back and go, yeah, it is a good design, but it's actually not, it's not the right design for this particular brief. It's not ticking all the boxes. It might be a beautiful picture, but it's actually not working as that design. And that's ultimately what we're about, is visual communication, is communicating an idea effectively in a visual format. It also gives you that ability for self-awareness. I think most designers would put their hand up and go, okay, I have some design weaknesses. There's things that I will do all the time. You know, for me, I'm not a very good proofreader, and I know that there's been some designs that I've put out there which have had spelling errors in them, and that's just a massive no-no. So I know that that's a weakness of mine, and I will then get somebody else to help me with that, to have a look over my design and pinpoint where I've made an error. There's other things that I might be prone to doing. At one point, I think a few years back, I was always sticking to the same font for whatever design I did. I sort of had this bit of a love of Helvetica for a while, and Helvetica was just in everything I did, and it was just like, okay, I think I need to step back here and be aware of my own weaknesses. And by being part of this group critique, then that allows you to see, well, actually, I'm getting this feedback in every single thing I'm doing. Perhaps this is something that has become a weakness of mine, and I can actually focus on that and try and evolve and improve in that area. So obviously the key tools that you need within a group critique is to be able to listen. A lot of people new to critique will fail to understand that actually the criticism of your work does not mean that the work is bad or that you've failed. You need to be an attentive listener and listen holistically, not just to the bad bits that are being said, but to the whole picture. As a critiquer, you need to respect everybody in the class. Obviously, we're not going to tolerate abusive behaviour or bullying or anything, but I'm sure you guys are not going to do that anyway. But we're here to create a safe classroom environment where people feel that they can speak openly. No one's going to take offence. However, what you say needs to be done in the correct way. So obviously harsh criticism without any backup is not what we're about. It needs to, exactly, Shelley, it needs to be constructive. So you do need to let your ego go, leave your ego at the door, for sure, because at times there'll be things that are said that you might, as I say, you need to depersonalize, leave your ego at the door. People need to be willing to say things about others' work that they are potentially happy to hear about their own work themselves as well. But we have to be able to speak openly, and we need to kind of dispense with qualifying opening marks such as, oh, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. No, this is, we're all graphic designers, we're all working towards being better graphic designers. We're looking at constructive criticism, but you don't need to qualify your remark by giving it an opening remark. So group critique etiquette, what we will expect from you. So if you're going to give some positive comments, it's always great to hear the positive comments about your work when it is of a high standard. It can give you, an unsure designer, a lot of confidence and really boost yourself and how positively your design is exploring may be received. But what we want to see is more than, oh, I really like it, it's really nice. You really need to expand on that comment and give an explanation of why you liked it and why you think the design is successful. Okay, so it could be things about colour, it could be you think that it's met the target audience, that it's the emotions within the image or the design are working well. And again, tonight we're actually going to have a little play with a group critique on 2 logos, and this is going to give you an opportunity to have a think about the certain areas that you could be commenting on. For critical comments, it actually never benefits a fellow designer to tell them how great their design is if you actually feel their design is not working. That's not going to benefit anybody at all. So we must have critical comments, and they are more than welcome in the group where appropriate. So, as I say, the nature of the design industry that you will be dealing with clients, and a lot of the clients will be giving you critical comments, and you need to be able to step back and not take that criticism personally. But again, that critical comments given in the class must be of a constructive nature. So the easiest way to do that is first explain why you feel a design isn't working, and then follow up with perhaps another direction or idea that the designer may have been able to explore. So, for instance, say that you think that the font chosen hasn't worked. It's okay, rather than just going, well, your font doesn't work, it's that particular font doesn't work. Have you tried? And an idea of a different kind of font, maybe more of a display font or more of a, quirky font. That kind of thing is what we're looking for. That designer may have tried out. If you go in the discussion board and have a look through, there's some posts already starting to happen and some conversations already happening from middle schoolers and upper schoolers where these things are being quite clearly seen in that environment. So it's really good to go and have a look, and it's always better to have somebody to give you constructive criticism. So I'm going to pull out some names. So Hazel Blake and Nicole Cooper, particularly good. They'll take the time out to actually look and be constructive about somebody's design. And the people that have had, that get that, it's great because you've got something to work on. It's really good that you've got that to work on and follow through and take those ideas on board. So that's what we're looking for. So remember, most important things to remember is that although each may be in the class for different reasons, we're all here striving to be more successful graphic designers. And so the old adage, I don't know about design, but I know what I like, is actually no longer applicable in your mode of inquiry. We need to be rigorous and rich in our process. Take your work apart and put it back together better than it ever was, with the help of a lively critical forum, whether that is in Elluminate or in the discussion board. So that's what we're hoping to work on. Obviously, it's a learning curve. You get better at it the more you do it. And won't be expecting miracles to start with, but that's what we're looking for, is that rich and fulfilling group critique environment where everybody benefits. So both the people who are critiquing and the people who are getting the critique done. And it's a two-way thing. You spend some time critiquing somebody's work, they're going to get a lot from it. They're going to spend that time critiquing your work when it goes up on the discussion board or in the Elluminate, and everybody's a winner. And I know that past students who have now left the course and have not got people to bounce off ideas, no discussion board, no Elluminate. They really miss it. They really miss that opportunity to just put something out there and feel in a safe environment where they're going to get some really interesting and vibrant feedback on their work. So that's what we're all about. I'm going to hand over to Steve and just grab a quick drink of water, and I think he's going to take you through what we're actually doing next.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. So basically the long and short of all that is that we all need to start living, breathing and thinking like graphic designers, starting from, well, a fortnight ago or whenever it was you enrolled, basically. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is have a little practice run at some critique, and you guys are going to give some feedback on these two logos. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. We'll get our teeth into it. I think what we'll do is, we'll just stick with the chat area for the first one. Okay. All right, so without further ado, let's think about our target audience. So we're looking at comprehensive healthcare here versus a clean logo. So thinking about our target audience, and what we're going to do is get you to all write in the chat area, just thinking about those 3 points about our target audience. Does each of these pieces employ imagery, colours and words that would appeal to the target audience? Does the message make sense? Is it clear? And does it motivate you? Okay, so without further ado, let's just have a look at each of those logos. See which one you think works better for what you imagine the target audience. Okay, the first one is self-explanatory. Okay. Anybody else? Next up, please. Don't be shy. Terry Ann has a hand up. I'm wondering whether she wants to say something on the microphone there. A 2-minute timer. Okay. Oh, we do have a 2-minute timer. All right. Okay, so John thinks the first one is eye-catching, like the first one. The first one's clear and interesting. By query why it is welcome home. Good question. First one. Second one's messy. I thought it was gleam. Okay. Who is the second one for? Okay. Don't think a house is relevant to healthcare. Okay. And we've still got a minute to go, so keep going, guys. First one is neat, but it needs something like home security or something with the care. Some good comments coming out here. First one's eye-catching and welcomes you, right? Colours a bit, whoa, it's a bit hard to keep up here. Colours a bit boring in the first one. Second one needs a stronger colour or better outline to make it clearer. I think it's lovely. Whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself here. 30 seconds left. I think it's lovely. It gets the feeling across of care with the arms wrapped around the house. Okay. The message makes sense and is very clear. John says the second one is created with the vacuum cleaner, but it looks plain. Okay. Clean subconsciously implies environmental friendly with the use of colour. That's a good comment there, Franklin. Second one at least has a vacuum in the logo, but that doesn't really help due to the font and the bad colour. Okay. Josh likes the second one, clean lines, but better colours would help reinforce the message. colours in the house are a little dull. We are out of time too, by the way, guys. And like the brightness of the second one. I think the clean one could have a bit more colour and more to explain what it's about. Okay, first one serves its purpose to deliver this message clearly to almost any audience. I like the second, it's simple and effective. Well, that's very interesting. I would have to say that a majority of people are quite struck, especially in the first instance, or when they first see the top one. People seem to be struck by that one. But then maybe when people have looked at the second one a little bit more deeply, they seem to be warming to that. So yes, very mixed reactions there, which of course is definitely what we would expect. Now, Caroline, shall I just move on? Because otherwise this could take quite a while. Or I'll just stand here for a minute, Caroline, see if you've got any comments on that.
No, it's just really interesting. It's always really interesting when we do this. And yeah, we are continuing to look at these two logos. So obviously a lot of you've mentioned colour already, but we will just continue because we are sort of focusing on certain types of this. So the first question was, do you really think it's met the target audience? And some of you have answered that and some of you have gone a little bit deeper into it, which is fine. Yeah, so this one's really about looking at the message, which I think when you're looking at design, is probably one of the things you need to look at first is, okay, you know, what is the target audience for this one? So obviously comprehensive healthcare, you kind of think, well, who would be the demographic for that? And, you know, there is a certain demographic that can ensure, you know, is it health insurance or is it health care? If it's health care, is it for older people or younger people? So, you know, there's a mixed target audience that could possibly be for there. Clean, again, yeah, is a bit vague. Is it a cleaning company? No worries, Wendy, enjoy Beatlemania, have fun. Sorry, don't bop the night away. So yeah, you know, cleaning, is it a cleaning company? Is it, you know, who we're not quite sure what that is, but you know, there's obviously a target audience there as well. So I'll flick on to the next one. What we're looking at now is imagery. So within the logos there, has imagery been used effectively? Is the quality good? Is the image relevant? And is there balance with the image that has been used? So again, when you're looking at other people's design or your own design, so that's one area to concentrate on as far as how is imagery being used? Does it work with the message? Is it balanced? Is it good quality? Sometimes you see some pretty nasty images being put in with things that really shouldn't. So yeah, if you can start, I'll put the timer on again. Maybe do a little bit. Well, we've got 2 minutes there, but we might finish a little bit earlier. So there we go, it's 2 minutes timer, it's counting down. So if you can start to just comment there on the imagery that's been used within these logos, really looking at not the font or not holistically at the logo, but the images and the message that those images are conveying. So let's have a look. We've got some chatting going on, people chatting away. Home, happiness, health, yep, that's good. Absolutely, Franklin. I'll wait. Still some typing. No, it's a more difficult, obviously, rather than all being in a class and being able to shout out. But the quality of the first one is better than the second. Yeah, I'm probably part of that is the way that that's transversed into the Elluminate environment. Sometimes that just reduces the quality of the images. Hugging house could mean caring house. Yep, let's have a look. think both images are good and relevant. Both are nicely balanced for what they achieve, absolutely. First one is good quality. First is irrelevant. What has a house to do with healthcare? Second one does not portray cleaning with the vacuum, but it does portray, but it makes a C into a G. First it's, yep, sun and balance is wasted space. Second seems visually balanced, yep. Okay, both are relevant, nicely balanced. Second is crisp and environmentally friendly. Yeah, I think I'm getting that one from that one as well, which is quite interesting, isn't it? That you get that immediately from that, which, you know, interesting to see why we're getting that. Clean and green, that's why. Second one is also, I'm not sold on the picture of the pregnant house. The second is a vacuum explains very simply and the whole image appears cleaner. Absolutely. And it's funny that you go in the pregnant house. Excellent. Second one is also relevant and easily recognisable. Some fantastic comments there, guys. Really good. I'm getting quite excited because I think you guys are going to be a great group in the group critique for sure. Okay, Steve, I'll move on to the next one, which is all about colour, and I'll let you run this one.
Okay. All right. So now we're looking at colour and how the colour associates with the image that they're trying to portray. So how does the colour make you feel? Do these associations enhance or destroy the message? Is the colour used consistently? And are the colours used harmoniously? Okay, so let's get a timer going. Hopefully it's still set at 2 minutes, and we'll go from here. Okay, colours. Just missed one. You still don't like the puke green in the clean pic? Okay. Very good. Shelley likes the colours on both. Yeah. It is, yes. People chatting away crazily there. Heather thinks the blue is a bit too dark on the first one. Jody likes the green, it's fresh. First one, Josh says, first one gives a positive outlook and reinforces the welcome home message. Green's good for environment and clean. Blue, yeah, is a bit boring. And you do like the brightness of the green, Emma. Okay. I like how it uses the two colours as it's a cleaner. Yep. Kellyanne says the dark blue looks professional, especially combined with the hard serif font. Yeah. The sun bothers you though. Green, yeah, portrays the message, but isn't a nice green to use. Okay. Marie's keen on both colours. John's thinking a blue and a different shade of green. Elite is saying, I've scrolled past it. Blue is a cold colour. Yeah, I think a different shade would have worked better. The flowers are odd, not strong enough, and the green is definitely growing on you. Sarah, colours on the house are harmonious. Not fond of the shade of green though. Okay. Franklin, whoop, timer has timed out. Green is a bit washed out, doesn't say clean. Okay. And Melita, or Mel or Leet, I think there is too much of the same blue in the first. Okay. John thinks that green is too pale. Marie says that the green portrays environmentally friendly. Heather probably agree, maybe too much dark blue. Hard blue more associated with governments or other professions, not very caring though. That's an interesting comment. Sharper colour for the second. And as Caroline says, some great comments there. That's you guys are really looking into this, and colour is obviously something that, as graphic designers or potential graphic designers. We are all, well, I'm trying to think of the word. Deep down, we're all sort of have our own feelings about, and maybe have studied a little bit of colour along the way too. So, yeah, some awesome comments there. Caroline, I might just take the next one too, seeing I'm at it. Oh, and hello, Danika's joined us. Hi, Danika. We're halfway through a group critique session. Hopefully you can hear me. And what we're doing is we're just looking at these two logos and just making comments about the different aspects of the logo, of each logo in the chat area. Melita is ducking out for a second, that's fine. And we will move on to the next slide. Okay, now we're talking about fonts. Which of these fonts do you think is effective? Anyway, how many fonts have they used? Is there the overuse of different fonts? Which type of font has been used? Is it interesting? Is it appealing? Is it consistent with the message? Does the font grab your attention? Okay, Comic Sans is a bad font. Nice rule of thumb there, John. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for the 2 minutes again. So let's go. Love that font in the 90s. Right. Luckily, neither of these are using Comic Sans. Right. Where are we? Okay, Sarah, cleans font suits, but at the same time find it hard to read. Okay, it could actually just be the way it's blown up there. Mix of upper and lowercase looks untidy. Okay, good point there, Emma. If anyone uses it as in Comic Sans, you might just explode. Times Roman says trustworthy. Okay. I guess that stems back from old newspaper days. Font in the second one is lively but difficult to read. First one isn't that welcoming, more starchy. Okay, maybe that stems back to it being, what was it? Trustworthy. Okay. Second one looks like part of a cleaning machine. Very interesting use of font. One font each, yes, although the top uses caps, yep. Again, a hard serif looks professional, but clean is flowy, but hard to read. Like I said, thought it said gleam, yep. Uppercase is generally harder to read. Yeah, newspapers use it, of course. Times New Roman, of course. Okay, I agree about uppercase the whole way through. Not easy to read. The second one suggests it is an easy company to deal with. Easy process and flowing. Okay. Don't like the mixed uppercase and lowercase. Confused. Yep. Okay, and the timer has timed out. Second one uses a consistent message of a simple yet clean. Good comment. First one, the font is clear but could be a bit curved. Okay. I like the font on clean, but a little too much in the beginning. I like the font on clean, but a bit too much in the beginning. Yeah, that could be the C starting to look like a G, yeah, which is what John said there. Perhaps a softer font that is more welcoming for the first one. Yeah, that's a good comment. We are talking healthcare there, Marie. Clean suggests Swift, but I also thought the C was an O. Okay. Well, if we've gone past the timer, the second one rolls together with the whole image. The first has used too much uppercase and appears to be yelling. Ah, yes, the dreaded yelling. Late First one, strong heading, not welcoming, and the lowercase bit suggests it's less important. Ah, some very, very good points there. Isn't it amazing how just looking at two logos and the way the fonts are used just opens up a whole world of imagery, basically. Excellent stuff. Okay, Caroline, I'll hand over to you for, what have we got next? Just checking my notes here.
Yeah, I think it's layout now, so just looking at the general layout. So when you're looking at a design piece, obviously your eye should be drawn through so that you're actually seeing the most important information instantly, and then sort of drawing you through to the rest of the design. So effective design actually assists you in being drawn around the design without actually getting overwhelmed. So it needs to be carefully engineered, and it needs to be usable and readable and easy to interact with, and it doesn't want to be sort of tedious and disorganized. So that's what we're looking at. Are your eyes naturally drawn to the design? Are you able to scan the piece and understand what it means? Is the key information easy to find and easy to read? And are there any distracting elements that are sort of drawing your eye but not actually doing anything for the design in itself? So you're kind of asking yourself, why are they there? So often when I'm doing this with a design, I'll almost half sort of close my eyes and squint a little bit, and then you sort of see the standout bits come out first. You know, so with those two designs, I'm now sort of squinting at the screen and having a look, and I'm looking at the things that are popping out first, and you know, are they actually helping me understand that logo, or am I a little bit confused as to what it's all about? So we'll put the timer on, and we've only got a couple more of it to actually talk about here, and I'm really excited by all the comments that are coming out. So yeah, if you can start to maybe make some more comments about the layout, the general layout, then that'd be great, and I'll read them out as they're coming through. Lots of typing away. Great to see. Oh my goodness. Okay. Terry Ann, first one, the thick house image grabbing your eye. The sun distracts, so you keep losing the words. Second one, the messiness of the word means you need to stare at it to read it fully. Positioning of the vacuum makes the word read wrong. First one, drawn to the picture, have to make an effort to read the text. Yeah, absolutely, Danica. Confused as the house stands out first and really confuses the issue. Have to think too much. Yeah, good comment, Heather. Hugging hands jump out for me first. What does healthcare have to do with being home? I actually thought it was home care originally. Yep, absolutely great comment, Sarah. Let's have a look. Not drawn to the first one. It's a bit complicated with a mix of colours and cases. Would prefer the welcome home to be on the straight line. That's a good comment. Not part of the circle. It looks like it's part of the business line rather than the tagline. Colour and sense of movement in the second one does distract your eye. Lee, totally agree with Lee. Can't understand the hugging pregnant hands, and the sun is distracting also. Sun is unnecessary and distracting. Yeah, still don't really know what the second one is about or for. Absolutely, yeah. The clean doesn't give you anything. Is it a product, a company, what? Absolutely, yep. The hugging house is a bit silly and gimmicky. Yeah, Emma. Yeah, it could be a cleaning service or cleaning products. Absolutely, you just don't know, do you? And the first one is too busy jumping out and losing the message. The clean does not say that much. Great, absolutely fantastic. And the L in clean is encroaching on the C. Yes, it is. It's a bit close there, isn't it? And when you get a little bit further into typography, you'll learn about kerning, and you'd be able to fix that straight away. Okay, so that's fantastic, absolutely brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to when you start putting these comments into practice into class. Obviously, it's a little bit different when you are doing it with your classmates, but that's why we've said you guys are going to leave your egos at the door and go for it. Okay, so the last slide where we're looking at this finally is the emotion, so the overall emotion. And I think a lot of you have already talked about this, but how does it make you feel? Do you feel invited to look or continue to look? So your gut feeling on this. So finally, I suppose, the final gut feeling of these two logos, if obviously they're for very different companies, but I suppose which do you think emotionally has hit the mark, has sort of hit the target and is doing its job? Not that I suppose most of us will have an awful lot of emotion about cleaning, but if you were a cleaning company and this is the logo you've got given, what would be the emotion that you think it's finished with, the final product? So the final one, and you've done a fantastic job, so I'll start the timer. So the final emotion that you get from these logos. First, hard and uninviting. I'm just going to be a number in the books going to them. Clean, well, no idea what it is or does, but the clean and green did speak out at least. Great comment, Terry-Ann. Second one, with its basic colour, gives you a sterile feeling. I don't like cleaning, so the emotion I feel is dislike. Fair enough, Franklin. Maybe if it was a cleaning company, though, it might make you feel like, oh yeah, they can come and do the job for me. It doesn't make me feel like I need healthcare. Clean reminds me of an infomercial for a product I don't need but want. I like that one. I think someone can do a better job for the clean one in paint. Fair enough. Okay, John. The green suits the cleaning idea. The first one is friendly. Colour and font of the second one make me feel like my house would be bright and sparkling. Okay, cool, that's good. So the colour and font, so it makes you feel like they're going to come and do a good job for you, which is good. First is not inviting. The second one makes me think there is no messing around, simple and effective. Good comment. Slowly. Clean is more effective in gaining my attention. First one doesn't make me want to look again. Neither would really excite me to investigate further. I don't know about the house, but it is welcoming. Clean is a bit short and unwelcoming. Yep, fair enough, Heather. First one, warm. The clean indicates green use of chemicals. Yep, so yeah, definitely get an environmentally friendly emotion from that second one. First one looks as though, I think I've lost Josh there. First one looks as though it's holding its patients captive, not holding ransom. I noticed and examined clean before healthcare and it still draws my attention. I want to know more. Great comment, Sarah. So it's grabbed you, emotions there, you want to continue. The first is maybe a bit too friendly, especially if it is for insurance. Yeah, absolutely, Franklin. And there's a bit of confusion as to actually what it is about or what it's for. So healthcare, health insurance, we're not sure. So absolutely brilliant comments, guys. Very insightful, thoughtful, intelligent comments being made in class tonight, and that's really good to see. Certainly bodes well for the rest of the year. I think we're going to get some great stuff coming from this year. My sort of feeling about these two logos is I'd certainly was confused about the house. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Franklin. That's good. We'll definitely do more of that in class for sure. Yeah, so for me, for these two, as I was trawling through the net trying to find two logos that were, perhaps not the most successful logos and would have started some discussion and some conversation happening, and also were not logos that we were used to seeing, because that, when you start actually doing critiquing on logos that you see every day, that gets really difficult when you start actually trying to pull apart McDonald's logos or anything like that, so that can become quite difficult. But yeah, I was confused about the house. For me, it actually looked like it was sort of shy, or maybe covering up its rude bits for me was the house. So that was my immediate sort of emotion of that one, is like, what it's trying to cover up. And clean, yeah, I liked the flow of the vacuum cleaner, but I was a bit concerned about the readability and the legibility of that text. I did think the green was a good, interesting colour to use, and very immediately shouted out sustainability, which is obviously a bit of a buzz thing at the moment. So yeah, but I just fantastic to read all of your comments, and just great to have that group critique happening and seeing that everyone's got different opinions. You know, some people preferred the first, some people preferred the second, some people didn't like either, some people like both. So, you know, that's what it's all about. You're going to be dealing with clients with so many different needs and wants and likes, you know, ultimately, obviously, we want to try and hit the mark and hit the target, but sometimes it's going to be really difficult. It's to do a really difficult job because it can be quite subjective. So, well done, everybody. I think you deserve a round of applause. So I'm going to give you all a round of applause for that, because that was brilliant. If you want to give yourself a round of applause, you can find the applause in the top emoticon. So on the left, the very left button with the little smiley face down there is applaud or a thumbs up. So, and I'll hand over to Steve so he can do a roundup on this one as well.
That was brilliant, and it's really good to see you guys thinking objectively, I suppose, about something that logos which do actually create lots of emotion in some funny ways. I don't think there's much that I can say about the logos that hasn't been said, which is always something that's really a tricky thing to do when you're the second person to give critique on something. But it just makes you think even harder. So what hasn't been said? I think the first, I actually personally think that there's just too much in that first one. The flowers and the little green bushes are all very nice, but you're trying to, someone did, I think it was Heather maybe, said that the first thing you do is look at the house and the picture, and then you look at the flowers, and then you actually zoom out and read what it's all about, and it's comprehensive healthcare. I like the comment where the welcome home could have gone just flat underneath the imagery there. I think that would work a lot better, as in it's not part of the name of the company or the body that we're talking about. I actually quite like the second one. As it has been said lots of times, that C just looks way too much like a G for anyone's liking, so that did get quite confusing. I guess the fact that it is a bit pixelated wasn't really helping you guys think objectively about it, because if you could imagine it as being a nice, clean, flowing lines, that might have helped you tidy up the way it looked. And yeah, well, that's a good point, Franklin. Maybe it is Glean. Maybe they call Glean the cleaners. And the green, I quite like the Glean. Cheapers. I quite like the green, even though a lot of people didn't like the colour green. I think it sort of gives an environmentally friendly sort of feel to it. But anyway, I'd just like to read a line here that Caroline's written. So, after logical dissemination and a concerted effort at objectivity, make sure you trust your judgment. It can give you a good idea of whether every element used in a design works together harmoniously. So, take that on board. I would type that into the chat area if I could, but so disseminating and looking at it objectively and seeing whether it all comes together. and jumps out at you, and it's successful, which is what it's all about. So, well done, guys. You've already given yourselves a round of applause. So basically, that's what our group critiquing is sort of like. We will be doing that every week. Actually, I might just move on. I know we're talking about our visual diary next. Yeah, but basically, every week someone will be showing and telling a piece of their own, and we will call on one of you, and we do take a note of who's showed and told, so to speak, and who has given feedback, and so everyone will have a go at it eventually. So look forward to that one. Yeah, we'll talk about our show and telling a little bit later. So yeah, we'll get to that, John. Okay, show and tellers. So our next session in a fortnight's time, we will be beginning our showing and telling. What we do is we pick 2 people each week. Each Elluminate session. You will be notified the Thursday before, so you have 6 days to get yourself a PowerPoint together. If what you're doing doesn't suit a PowerPoint, we can use the application share, which I think we did explain last week. Okay, Leet, you won't be able to make it next week. That's fine. We'll try not to pick you as a show and teller then. And the other thing is, with our show and tellers, we will be using webcams this year. So as you are showing your PowerPoint presentation, which is something you might need to have a bit of a play with. Once again, there's some really good lynda.com tutorials on PowerPoint, so you might want to have a quick look at them just on some basic stuff. I mean, the PowerPoint doesn't have to be wonderful. That's something that you can work on, and but it is by far the easiest way for you to show your work. What we're looking at now is basically a slideshow put together in PowerPoint, and when you do your show and tell, you'll be made into, I think that sounds right, made into a moderator, which will give you access to click the back and forward buttons so you can go through your PowerPoint. Okay. Yes, we will be using webcam this year. Hello. And at this stage, you're obviously not going to have a lot of course-related content that you'll be able to show. So basically, you can, I guess, for the first few show and tells, when you don't have work in progress or whatever to show, it can be anything that you find inspiring. Maybe it's something that you find uninspiring or really boring, and you can tell us about it, how bad a piece of design is. But other than that, you can use, like I said, work in progress, activities that you've been working on, assessments that you've been working on, or even personal work, or even client jobs. If maybe you're working on someone else's job, which may or may not be paid work, maybe something that you're just doing for a club or whatever. Pretty much anything design related. Put yourself together a PowerPoint, and if that doesn't work, we can do what we call a application share, where you can say, for example, you have a piece in Photoshop, you can share your desktop with Photoshop on it. Sorry, just reading the chat here. Heather, that would be good. An Africa trip. imagine there'd be some fairly inspirational stuff in there. Sarah's still trying to lip read, which makes it a bit difficult. And before that, delete is an apology for next week. Okay. Sarah's having problems with lender.com. Said an error now, cannot register. Okay, what I might do, Sarah, is I'll see if I can go in and see if I can see anything wrong. If not, I will maybe reset your password or whatever and see if that'll let you in. So I made a note about that one. So hopefully I'll be able to sort that out tomorrow. Meanwhile, all that's been said in the chat area. Never mind. Share the screen. Yeah, well, what you can do, John, is under application share, you can share your desktop, but the only problem there is it also shares what's happening in Elluminate too. So it's probably better if you pick whichever program you are working in. Okay, moving right along. Okay, we've pretty much covered that with our critiquing session, but yes, after each show and tell session, we will be picking a couple of people to give verbal feedback on the work that's been shown, and we don't give any warning about this one. Obviously, the people who are showing and telling get a lot of time to get their stuff together and in a PowerPoint or whatever. But basically, with the feedback or the critiquing, we just pick someone on the spot. Nothing to be scared of. It's all about pretty much what we were doing in our critique session this afternoon. So, and of course, you will get lots of encouragement and guidance. So yeah, don't be scared. Just analyze what you've looked at, and basically just give feedback as you see it. So thank you all very, very much for coming in this evening. Quite a good attendance too, I must say. Not only a couple of missing people there, which is great. And I shall see you all in a fortnight's time, if not before. So thanks, guys. Now I'll turn my video off and my audio. I'll say see you later. And great critique session too. Cool.
Yeah, guys, excellent session. Not as long as before, so we run a little bit over time, but that's okay. Thank you so much. Really good critique. Hope you've taken a lot from tonight, and we'll be able to use that and work on it for the rest of the year. So, yeah, we'll see you on the 20th of March. Watch out for an email reminding you if you're going to be a show and teller. Who knows? It could be you. And have a great fortnight. And remember, using the discussion board if you've got questions or problems. See ya!